I'm going to teach you about verbal irony. Guys, I'm going to teach you about verbal irony, and then we're going to practice it, and we're going to make it really weird and really funny and really entertaining. But you're going to need to follow along here. If you don't, this is a tiny, tiny, tiny assessment. So try and, follow along with me here. But go ahead and click this link right here, everybody. And every time we do a vocab like this, we do the same process. It's just a little bit weird the very first time. So it looks like this. And the first step you're going to do this with me. You're going to come up here to File. See where my mouse is wiggling? File. Go File, Make a Copy, and just say Entire Presentation. So File, Make a Copy, Entire Presentation. And then you can just click the yellow button. You don't have to change any of the options. But yeah, as soon as the yellow button pops up for you, then now it will let you write on this, which you'll have to do in a little bit. The other step you're going to want to do, only because we'll end up having about 26 of these different vocab charts. And just to save your sanity, see where my mouse is wiggling right here on this little folder icon? If I were you, I would move it into a folder in your drive just so that it's organized right from the get-go. If you don't organize it from the get-go, you'll end up having a bunch of these. So if you click All Locations and then click My Drive, so All Locations and then My Drive, you could create a new folder, which is this button down here. So if not, here, I'll kind of do that again just so you can see. So I went to All Locations, and then I clicked My Drive, and I clicked this little arrow next to My Drive, and then it gave me the option to create a new folder right here. And if you need help, you can ask a neighbor, or I'll be able to help you in a minute. You could call it Mrs. Homey, you could call it Second Period, you could call it Creative Writing, you could call it Third Quarter Exploratory Wheel. Any of those options are totally fine. But once you create your folder, like I already have one, right, I would click on Exploratory Arts, and then I would just move it right there. So it just helps yourself out. I'll show that just one more time, just in case anybody missed it. So I clicked All Locations, I went to this button next to My Drive, and then it gave me the option right here to create a folder, call it whatever you want, then click on it, and then move it. Okay, so here's the actual lesson, everybody. We, today, like I said, we're going to be talking about verbal irony. And verbal irony actually helps you be funny on purpose. Let's do a little test. How many of you have ever made a joke that nobody laughed at? Isn't that the worst? Yeah, all day, every day. Like being a teacher, that's really what it is. But verbal irony is a creative writing trick to help you be funny on purpose. So everybody say it for me, first of all. Verbal irony. Verbal irony. Yeah. So, Charlotte, is that a hand for me, or are you just raising your hand of laughing? Okay, I gotcha. So, make sure you're focusing here, okay? Because remember, there's a tiny test at the end. So this is when you say something that you actually mean the opposite. So the picture is an example here. That this, you can tell, this chick spilled coffee all over her shirt. And she says, "My day's going great. Thanks." Which is verbal irony. She said something, but she means the opposite. Obviously, that kind of ruined her day. So, really, verbal irony is sarcasm, guys. Mr. C is on our vocab chart today because Mr. C is the king of verbal irony. That Mr. Christiansen, he always is sarcastic and often will say things that he doesn't totally mean. He might mean the opposite. So, same with like the other example. Let's pretend you walk outside and it's not just a tornado, but a sharknado. Yes, tornadoes with a shark in it. And you're like, oh good, just what I was hoping for today, which is not true. No one wants a sharknado, right? So that's verbal irony. So the first sentence says tone of voice helps clarify if something is verbally ironic. Like, how many of you have ever sent a text message or an email that somebody took the wrong way? And sometimes it's because they can't hear your tone of voice. Like, they might think that you're fighting, but really you're just being sarcastic, right? So tone of voice really helps us understand if something is verbally ironic. So we're not writing anything yet. I'm going to show you 2 examples to get this stuck in your brain for forever. Luke, you got to try not to talk while I'm talking, bud. So I'm going to show you 2 examples to get this stuck in your brain. We're going to start with this one, and then there's a Studio C that has a funny example, okay? I know, he totally is a carrot nose. That's okay. If you pay attention here, it'll help you with the tiny assessment that's coming in just a second, okay?
Great weather we're having. Awesome job. You're a tremendous athlete. Compliments right? Well, maybe. Depending on the attitude and tone of voice behind these lines, they very well may be compliments. They may also be, though, pointed and attacking lines. This slight change of attitude behind the lines reveals what we call verbal irony. So when someone says, "Great weather we're having," it is quite possible that person really means that. If the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and the wind is calm. But if the weather is horrible, the clouds are looming, and the wind is a raging tempest, and someone says, "Great weather we're having," he probably doesn't actually mean that. He probably means that the weather is horrible, but he has said the opposite. This is verbal irony, when the speaker says the opposite of what he means. I know what you're thinking. Isn't this sarcasm? Isn't the speaker being sarcastic? Yes. When a speaker says the opposite of what he means, that is verbal irony. When the speaker then goes the step farther to mean the opposite of what he says and seeks to be a little pointed and mean, like he's making fun of something, then you have sarcasm. Take the second example. Awesome job. Someone accomplishing his lifelong dream. Awesome. Someone winning a sports championship. Awesome. Someone rear-ends another car. Not awesome. So when the passenger says, "Awesome job," they probably...
Or like when I broke my arm in middle school, one kid signed my cast, like smooth move, which is verbal irony, because obviously breaking your arm, being klutzy, isn't really smooth, so that's verbal irony. You say something, but you mean the opposite. Let's skip to the funny one, because Studio C made a character called Captain Irony, and they will have one verbal irony example for us.
Hey! You again.
Natalie, isn't it literally ironic how we run into each other every day?
Yeah, it's really...
Good sir.
Allow me to define ironic for you, fellow. There's verbal irony, dramatic irony, and situational irony, which is the one you speak of. That's the incongruity of the actual sequence of events and the normal or expected outcome of a sequence of events. So when you say that running into your friend every day is ironic, it's not ironic, it's just interesting. Irony talk.
Who are you?
I'm Captain Irony, here to educate the masses on the use of the word irony. Hipsters, yeah? I've always wanted to know how to use the word irony. I've never really met anybody that knows...
Wait, so you don't even have the power to restore balance, and your catchphrase is irony tot? A captain without superpowers. Now that's ironic.
No, it's not, believe me.
Ironically, sometimes I think it'd be nice to not have powers.
Did you just hear yourself? You just put the word ironically in front of a totally unrelated sentence. That's like saying, ironically, the ocean is neat.
You know what's ironic? A captain who's a woman. Am I right?
Oh, that's so funny to me.
Really?
No, I was being ironic. Irony talked.
Right there, that was our verbal irony. You know what's ironic? A captain that's a woman, and she's like, "Oh, that's so funny to me." Right there, that's how you know. She's saying something, but actually means the opposite. Now, you guys tell me, the rest of this video has nothing to do with irony, but I'm assuming that you want to finish it? Okay, sounds good.